Okay, here we go. Continue on with Bloomer. So last time we left off talking a little bit about Herbert Bloomer's symbolic interactionism, and we'll talk a little bit about the theory some more, and then how it relates to collecting data. So if I am doing, say, a quantitative research project and I'm studying happiness, what the symbolic interactionist folks argue is, well, how can you presume that happiness means the same thing to everyone? If I give them a scale of 1 to 10, if you circle a 4 and I circle a 4, does that mean we're equally happy or unhappy? They say no, it doesn't. And so you can't impose those objective ideas on subjective reality just because we don't all understand happiness or job satisfaction or whatever is the same way. So you can't just give people these surveys. You need to really dig deep, do some observations, do some interviews to really understand their behaviors and attitudes. And researchers should have no preconceived notions. So no hypothesis testing. That biases research, they say. So be open-minded and flexible. Whenever you do research, be willing to ask deep questions, probe for deep answers. If you want to talk about healthcare, but they want to go on and talk about politics, then go on and talk about politics. So be open-minded and flexible as you do your research. So you can see, let me go back here. So this is how symbolic interactionism affects how you do research. No surveys. You do detailed interviews and observational methods. No preconceived notions. Be open-minded. That's how this theory says we should be doing research. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some different ways to collect data. We'll start with case studies. Subsequent screencasts will get to interviews and observations, but let's talk about case studies. One, qualitative way to study individuals or companies. Well, what's a case study? 1, 2, 3. Case studies, you're collecting detailed information on someone, something. You're trying to understand the meanings that things have to individuals. Now, here I talk about 2+2 students. The sociology program, this class is often used to help students in the social work program get certain class requirements down. A lot of social work students, all social work students have to take a research methods class, and that's this class. And 2+2 students are those who have gotten their first 2 years of school somewhere else and are coming to UCM to obtain their last 2 years. So that's what 2+2 means, students who already have their a 2-year degree and are coming back for the last 2 years. So you're studying individuals and what meanings things have to them. So if I ask an 18-year-old, what does school mean to you? The 18-year-old might talk about learning and getting a job and such, whereas the 2+2 student, who they often tend to be older, they're talking about balancing home and work and a career and going to school at night and all these different things. So case studies are getting very detailed meaning. It's very time-consuming, as most qualitative research is, but you're trying to figure out detailed information on how this relates to that and what they think about a number of different things. Case studies. Here are some examples. So let's see. These are very famous examples. Gubrium was the author. Murray Manor is the Living and Dying in Murray Manor is the name of the book. It's a real place, but a fictitious name. Common theme. So what Gubrium studied was individuals who lived in this nursing home. And the common theme he found when he observed and interviewed these individuals was loss. You can see loss of self, possessions, abilities, relationship, loved ones. Interestingly, a lot of the employees of this place referred to the older individuals who stayed there as clients, which tells you a lot about the relationship between the administrators, the employees, and the residents there. They were clients. That was a business relationship, very much business-like. And so Gubrium found that in the lives of these people, they were experiencing a lot of loss. Clearly they're leaving their own home, likely moving into this new place, so that's a loss. And they're getting older, so maybe they're having some health problems. That's a loss. They're losing loved ones. That's a loss. These losses compile on top of one another. So loss was a main theme that Gubrium found as he, in very much detail, studied the lives of individuals in a nursing home. What's nice about it in class, face-to-face classes, is I can then ask for students to talk to the class about experiences they've had, because a lot of students that I have in these classes have spent time working in nursing homes and have seen such loss. On the right, another case study, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross talked about stages of death and dying. Now, I want you to know these. I want you to know the main theme here for an exam question, and stages here for another exam question. The ordering, the characteristics. So here you go. Over here, Kubler-Ross talks about what people deal with when they're dying, or when a loved one is dying, or when a loved one dies. Denial is that first stage. It's just a shock. The doctor tells you you're dying, or a loved one has passed away. That's a shock. So denial gives your body that chance to regroup, to get ready for the problems that lie ahead because of this serious loss. So denial is the first stage. How long should you be in various stages? I don't know. That's not one thing I will talk about in this class. Second stage is anger. You're mad. You're mad at God for this cancer you have. You're mad at so-and-so for your friend died in an accident, so you're mad at the driver for killing him or her. Anger, very real, very powerful emotion. After anger comes bargaining. If you're the one who is dying, you bargain with God, hey, can I live some more? If your friend passes away, you want him or her to come back, because it's a very serious change and you want that change undone. Depression's the next phase there. You're very sad. You realize that your loved one is not coming back, or you really are going to die. So depression is a very, I think, logically placed stage. After denial, anger, bargaining, you realize, hey, it's not going away. I am dying, or my friend really is not coming back. Acceptance is the last stage, where Kubler-Ross says that's the healthiest way of dealing with death. If it is you who's dying, Kubler-Ross says that's the healthiest way, because when you die, then when your loved ones see you die, they will already see you get to this acceptance stage. So you're not depressed, you're not angry. That's why she says it's very healthy. So really for the benefit of your loved ones. And then if it's a loved one who's passed away or is dying, for you to get there, a lot of us feel that if a loved one passes away, they really would want us to move on with life, right? To go on and continue. So acceptance is a healthy way of dealing with death. So know the ordering and the characteristics of the stages. A couple of things that further talk about with dealing with death. Anniversaries can definitely bring back some sore memories. I have a friend whose husband passed away. I think it was January 18th. And it was an accident of sorts. He had a pacemaker and was out shoveling on a cold January morning. She told him not to go out, and he did, and he passed away. And so anniversaries can take you back. I'm sure every January 18th she gets a little mad, wishing that he hadn't done that. Thanatology is a study of death and dying. And so what's the difference between grief and mourning? Grief is the feeling we have, the sorrow, the sadness. Mourning is how we express it. So in our culture, we wear black. In fact, I just went to a funeral last month. People were dressed in dark colors. In other cultures, you dress white in light colors to go to funerals. In some cultures, there's one where, unless you can afford to give your loved one a proper burial, funeral, and send-off, which costs money, if you don't have the money, you can't act as if that person's dead yet. So you have to treat the deceased person as if he or she is still alive. I know this happens in some African cultures. There was a PBS special on this. So imagine your loved one dying, but if you don't have enough money to right away give the proper funeral, then what that means is your loved one is going to hell. And you don't want that. And so you treat the loved one as if he or she is still alive. You keep in this one episode, they kept the daughter's body in a barn, tied up in the rafters. They gave her 3 meals a day. They put cigarettes out because she smoked. They treat her as if she's still alive until they earned enough money. And then, and only then, did they start showing the grief. That mourning, they started showing the grief. So grief is the feelings. They started mourning, showing the grief, only until their culture said it was time to do that. So anyway, that's it for these slides. We'll continue on with the remaining slides.